I was watching a show about stocks, and I think it was Warren Buffett was doing a synopsis of things he learned, and he said he didn't really learn a lot of what he really learned until later on in his life. The repetitive, repetition of bad investments in life is guaranteed to stock up in your life with no returns. Okay? You are bound, no matter whatever you're going to do in your life, to invest your time, your effort, and really important. And this is where people don't because they do it. Anything that will go on in your life, whether it be your time and effort, whatever, the people who are gonna place themselves on your table, and whatever show they will put on to make you invest in them, it will come down finally to your money. They will eventually drain you into one of the most, I should say, important parts of your life, your money. Needy people are greedy people. And I over the years, I've really, you start to pick up a smell, a certain scent for people who carry need with them. Now, need comes, like, there's a big difference. You can catch yourself in situations that can really that's the whole part of growing, right? Warren Buffett learned a lot of his lessons later on in his life, and so will you. So will it. All depends. Some people get such good investments placed into them early on in their life. And by the way, that's what parents are supposed to do. They're supposed to invest so much good into you. But you can forgive your parents if you grasp the fact that whatever worthless investment they placed in your life was because they didn't have the right stocks, didn't have the right bonds. And I'm talking on a spiritual level, not physically, even though, it still comes down to the same lessons all around. If they invest in you to carry on the legacy of what they know best or what's best for you, that they painted a picture of you, and that is who you're going to be. And you'd be surprised that although you maybe live in a higher kind of a mentality, an upper level zone that you live in, you may be amazed at how many parents actually come from a low place, whatever they're going to deliver to their children. And probably two reasons. One, they don't want to be abandoned should you climb higher out of the pit that they're in. Okay. But secondly, and this is where it can get really bad, is that when they will see you doing better, and they will basically, somewhere deep down within their physiology, will say, how dare you? How dare you do better? How dare you veer away from the pathway of being a loser? Don't you know that's what I want for you? In that way, you will always need me. You will always come back to me. Now, it should never, no, was it supposed to ever go that way between parents and children, right? But it does happen. And when people go to psychologists and they do all these other things, or they get drugged up, or whatever they do in their life, they don't get told well enough that you're really repeating patterns that can be broken by being reparented. Breaking the code of your parents and understand that they weren't up to par. They were not up to it. They bore you. They did their best, which was less, but they were not up to what a parent should be, right? So, getting back to investments in general, if you're not careful, whatever you put in is going to spit back out at you. And if you were to take all of your money and drop it into a bottomless pit, okay, you're bound to hear in return an echo of what keeps falling and falling. It's called disappointment. You've missed the appointment. Choosing your investments wisely, it is so good that in your life, it is important that you make up your mind to find the right teachers to teach you what can happen inside of you that creates an amazing investment, but also how to invest. How to. And being careful is like, I think it was when I was watching a show, he said, people will spend so much time reviewing a product that's worth X amount of money, right? And the reviews and how good it is and how well it's going to provide my needs. Instead of when it comes to when making a real investment in life, they will spend less time reading the reviews, going over it with a fine tooth comb, or going over it with a microscope, or a magnifying glass to find out what is hidden. People don't invest in that kind of stuff. They don't really believe that it's really that important to be very careful with who is standing before you or what is standing before you, what you're about to walk into. Because time goes by, and whatever age you're at, it's so easy to say, to give time its rightful place, when time has its place. Doesn't have your rightful place. It just keeps going. And everything that you will put into that time, which is your existence, will have a return. And it will either some people they wake up after they made all these stupid investments in the stock market because it is researched well enough, and they're looking for a quick, rich, overnight, blah, 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 or they listen to hearsay by somebody saying, oh, yeah, that's good. And something else I discovered? The people who seem to know a lot are usually the ones that are the biggest idiots you'll ever encounter, because depth is something that you have to go into. Everyone has to go into it. You have to go into depth with every and anything that you're going to invest in, even just simply in your leisure, what you're doing in your life. But I discover, like, for instance, if you invest more in watching good solid movies that has good meanings, it's gonna pay back on you. It's gonna have good returns, because it will do a shift within your brain and will retrain your brain about what is solid and what is good, because the feeling of when you watch the movie leaves a nice feeling. And you see, that's the one thing about investments, is that people do know if something is off and you don't feel good about anything, man, don't go through with it. Doesn't matter what it is. And I speak from experience. I do. Because I can look back at how many times I just, somewhere deep down inside, I said I knew. I just knew it. And sure enough, there it was, years later, months later, glaring in my face, And the thing is that you can play lightly with the time that you lose. But I would say this, man, in the name of investment and life, and coming out without disappointments and unhappiness and feeling bad, put the time in and the effort as to what you're going to be doing, even where you're going to spend uh, a lot of your days looking for money in return. And I also say this too from my own faults, is that you could stay at something in the name of survival, and because you've been trained that there's something not other better, and the people who are able to step away, who have learned and they've taught that. You see, I really think that some people are being given a huge advantage in life because of their parents and their upbringing, right? I'm not going to say every one of them have, right? Not talking about the ones who squander away what they were given, but for the majority of people who got good inputs put into them, they come out smelling better. And it's not within their nature to be too familiar with people who are going down. It's been, you could hit these people, you can have life hit them, and they always will bounce back to what they knew to be doing naturally. You could take somebody out of a huge house. He makes a bad investment. He marries a bad woman, or vice versa. Woman and marries a bad guy, whatever, and everything gets ripped apart. Bad investment. You learn. You really learn. And man, you learn so much. But you shouldn't let your lessons and your investments be for the sake of learning. You ought to learn your investments before you go in to have to learn your lessons, which is getting your ass beaten good. But the thing is, when those people come out of their marriages or whatever, if they were trained to get let's say, for instance, they walked in with so much and they married somebody who had so little, well, it's not going to be equal. The Bible even says this about two of two different kinds cannot be yoked together. Do not be unequally yoked, joined together with somebody. It's like have somebody of 6 feet marrying somebody who is like 5 feet. It doesn't really work. Well, maybe some people it does, but it doesn't. Something ain't right about it, right? And when you equate your life to so much values, and you've grown so much, and you put in the time for that, it is probably one of the most stupidest moves you'll ever to make an investment somebody to come and rip apart all of your values and cause you to compromise. But getting back to the persons who've been raised a certain way, if they brought so much into the marriage, they had a nice house and everything, they will, after they get over the initial effect of the mess that was caused by one bad investment, they're able to bounce back and get the house of a similar kind and back to where they were. That is one of the most beautiful things about who God has instigated within this thing called life. He instigates second chances, third chances, fourth chances, and so on and so on. But you don't want to keep making mistakes. And I can say this, man, like, don't. You're hearing from a guy. I believe one of my biggest mistakes I ever made in my life is to give people too much credibility when they already showed me they had none. And if you have arrived to a place in your life that you trained your life to have a certain kind of, you can bring it. You know that you are a good investment. Don't hand yourself out to a $1 bill when you've been called to basically be invested in hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm talking about people who have huge value. Go be with somebody who's equal. Don't spend your life and don't spend your time. And it is not pride. It is not stuffiness. It is reality. That's why rich people don't hobnob with poor people. If they do find, if they're rich people and they're good rich people, they will help the poor. But after a while, they'll understand they're only going to help the ones who don't want to be poor. Okay? They know. After a while, they begin to know the ones who have the same stuff that they had whilst they were getting to the level they're getting to. compared to the other ones who are basically looking for a sucker. So I don't know if it made that much encouragement. I trust it did. My video is kind of dark. I've got it on low resolution because some of the video files are very big, and hopefully you like to talk. Hopefully the talk was clear to you. But do like and subscribe. My channel is slowly increasing with videos. I would like it to increase with subscribers. I really like to be doing this full time. At 63 years old, I've learned so much, and I really would love to be a blessing to a lot of people out there, that you don't make some of the mistakes I've made, and you understand that, say when you say, oh, I know God and I love God and I pray to God, you don't end up at some point in your life regretting God because you start blaming him. You see, we got a lot of nonsense going on with people say, oh, God's in control. God's got a plan. Well, that's all true, but God is also going to hold you to your decisions. And don't fool yourself, okay? Thinking that all this stuff is someone gonna make it all good in the end of the wash. In the meantime, your life has went by, and you're really holding a bag full of shit when you should have been holding a bag full of good returns, right? So when I use the word shit, I'm talking about poo, right? Poo, waste, right? Have a good day, and do like and subscribe. Thank you.